And there it is, the Sudbury FBO crew car. Very thankful that they gave me the crew car so that I could get into town and grab a hotel room for the night. So the weather that was predicted yesterday afternoon didn't happen. You know, it's one of those things. And I made a call that I would just stay overnight anyway. Flying through that smoke I find very stressful, and I knew that another 2 hours of flying through smoke and adding weather on top just was not gonna make me a happy person. So it's better just to stop, sleep, walk around Sudbury. It's kind of nice. So I checked the weather this morning. When I woke up, Muskoka, which is an airport that we're gonna pass, was low IFR. About an hour later, they're, you know, MVFR, and it's mist. So by the time I get there, it will have lifted and everything should be fine. There's a few restricted zones around Barrie. There's an air show today, but we're going to be on the other side of Lake Simcoe, so we won't see any of that. And when you expand the map out, there are large restricted areas in northern Quebec and Ontario that are all about forest fires and firefighting. None of the stuff around Elliot Lake is on that map, but some of the others in the far north are really huge, and that's where the majority of the smoke that we're seeing is coming from. So I'm going to jump in the van, back out to the airport, load up the plane, and we're off. Sudbury Radio, this is Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform on apron 3 with Echo.
Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, good day, Sudbury Radio. 8 is just updated to Foxtrot, no major change. Visibility's down to 6 miles of smoke right now. I did have a pilot report of flight visibility is about 5 miles on the approach to Sudbury, and it looked like it was about the same south of the field. North seemed to be quite a fair amount better. The wind 1002 at the moment. We'll call light and variable. The altimeter 2972.
2972. So I'm looking for a taxi to the active, which I believe is 22, and I'd love to find out where I could do a run-up before I get there.
Like the uniform, Roger. Actually, run-ups are normally done here in Sudbury on apron 3, which is where you are now. So if you just want to move around a little bit so you're not around anyone to complete your run-up, that works just fine. And when you're ready to taxi, you can contact me. As it stands right now, all runways are available, but winds are just barely favoring 1-2, but again, they're at 3 knots, so I don't think they really make a difference.
Roger that. Mike Victor Uniform.
Run-up complete.
Will do. Mike Victor Uniform. Sudbury Radio, Mike Victor Uniform, run-up complete.
Mike Victor Uniform, Roger. Wind 12002, altimeter 2971. Still confirm you're planning runway 22?
Yes, 22, please.
Roger, taxi is at your discretion. This is going to sound like a really unusual request, but as you're taxiing by, do you mind just stopping in front of the tower for 2 seconds? I'd like to take a picture of your plane.
Certainly, I can do that. Mike Victor Uniform.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to run out to the surround and catch you on the way by. I'll be right back in.
Radio, Mike Victor Uniform, holding short 1230 on Alpha.
Mike Victor Uniform, Roger, taxi is at your discretion. You can go right out to the intersection for departure. I have no other traffic.
Mike Victor Uniform, thank you.
Mike Victor Uniform, Sudbury Radio. Just confirm, are you planning to get flight following from Toronto on your way to the zone?
I am going to ask, yes, please.
Mike Victor Uniform, Roger. I will let them know you're coming. Just confirm you're 2,300 in the 5 minutes.
Correct.
Perfect. Thanks. Monitor this frequency for a moment. I may have further for you in a second.
Thank you very much, Mike Victor Uniform. Toronto Center, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform with request. Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, go ahead. I'd like to request flight following from Sudbury to Oshawa, please. Mike Victor Uniform, Roger, squawk code 5532. 5532, Mike Victor uniform.
Mike Victor uniform identified at 3000. Maintain VFR at all times and advise me of any altitude changes.
I will advise you of any altitude changes. Mike Victor uniform. Thank you. So I am very disappointed that I didn't get to complete the entire Give Hope Wings flight. None of the aircraft or pilots did. When I diverted to Elliot Lake, everybody else made it to Sudbury, and at Sudbury a couple of other pilots and planes decided to cut it short and go home. Between the smoke and the weather, it just wasn't to their liking. Totally understandable. Everybody else made it to Gatineau, the Gatineau-Ottawa stop, and the next morning during the briefing, I guess they all decided that same sort of thing. Going farther east through the smoke, through much worse smoke coming out of the fires in northern Quebec, just wasn't worth it, and there was a bit of weather that was going to happen as they got closer to the Maritimes. And so they cut short, but they did have, last night, another event in Kingston. Everybody converged on Kingston. I just wasn't going to make it. We did raise a lot of money, though, and for a very good cause, and we had a lot of positive help along the way. Everybody, as soon as they knew that you were part of Hope Air and the Give Hope Wings cross country, people extended a lot of courtesy, which was great. I know my community, between the cooking channel and this airplane channel, we've raised a lot of money for the charity, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for that. Living in Toronto now, I've sort of forgotten a little bit about how sparse services are in the more far-flung communities of Canada. You know, in a community like Elliot Lake, the other pilots were saying that they fly in and out of Elliot Lake quite often to take people to Toronto for care. You know, the need is there. We're a very rich country, but the need for this charity is still there. And I thank you so much for helping out. At the same time, I had a great adventure. A lot of the other pilots texted me and called me when I was in Elliot Lake and said how sorry they were that I got stuck behind. And you know what? I didn't look at it that way. To me, I signed up for this to raise money and to take the adventure and to learn new things and to find out, a little bit more about myself as a pilot. And I did. And I had a, even though I spent 3 nights in Elliot Lake, and even though I slept in the back of the plane in the first night in Elliot Lake because there's only one hotel and there were no rooms, I have still really enjoyed myself. It's been stressful. The flying has been stressful. The flight yesterday from Elliot Lake to Sudbury was super stressful because I was still freaked out by what I had gone through the day before and having to turn the 3 days before and having to turn around and getting caught in that thick smoke, and that was stuck in my brain. But still, I had a really good time. I met some fantastic people. I met some fantastic people that worked very hard to make the world a better place. And I think that's the experience I was looking for. I also think we need a big round of applause for those pilots firefighting out there. When I was hanging out at the Elliot Lake Airport, I was amazed at how many times, the helicopter would land and the pilot would spill out and just sort of fall, onto the ground and just sit there, looking like they were almost in a daze. It's got to be super stressful. Super, super stressful.
Mike Victor uniform, Toronto.
Mike Victor uniform.
Yeah, I might lose you on this frequency. If I do, over Perry Sound, try contacting Toronto for further flight following on 124.02. But in the meantime, I want to have you switch over to my other frequency at North Bay. I usually get that aircraft further south on that frequency than are low like yourself. 12725. If for some reason you can't get me, just come back to 35.5.
12725, did you say?
Leaving altitude.
What you... Mike Victor Uniform with you on 12725.
Mike Victor Uniform, how do you read me?
555.
Okay, that's perfect. Just stay here for now. Then, like I say, if you do lose me over Perry Sound, you can try Toronto on 12402. Base at Bedlam, so if you don't hit them right away, try again and receive it.
Roger that. Mike Victor Uniform. Landscape here is absolutely gorgeous, and I wish that I could show it to you better than, you know, through this thick, hazy smoke. It's just gorgeous. It really is.
Mike Victor Uniform, Toronto, how are you picking me up still?
555, Mike Victor Uniform.
You as well, that's great, thank you.
I had a brief exchange with Steve Thorne, Flight Chops, about this smoke, because he's been up flying in the smoke as well. And he said there's anecdotal evidence that, that this is hard on the engine, and I can imagine that it would be. A lot of particulate getting sucked through the engine. A lot of dirty air. As much as there's an air filter, I wonder how much it actually filters out. Because the particulate is so small and fine. One of the comments I see all the time from Americans, specifically American pilots, or maybe just American viewers, is sort of a belief that, you know, in Canada you have to always file a flight plan. You don't always have to file a flight plan. I could have flown from Sudbury to Toronto today, no flight plan, just got in the air, texted Julie when I was leaving and said, you know, I'm going to be in Oshawa in an hour and a half. Text her when I get there, reliable adult. You don't need a flight plan. But it's always advised to make a flight plan. And when you're flying through stuff like this today, or what I went through yesterday or the day before, having a flight plan and being on flight following and talking to you know, a radar operator at Toronto Centre is unbelievably comforting. Full stop. You know, even if there was no smoke, some of that terrain that we flew over the last couple of days, knowing that search and rescue is going to come looking for you if you don't check in when on your arrival time is very comforting. Is very comforting, and it, you know, takes nothing to file a flight plan. Just do it through ForeFlight. So simple. Toronto Centre, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform with you on 24.02 over Perry Sound.
Mike Victor Uniform, Toronto Centre, Fox identity, if you're identified, remain via fire checker going to Oshawa, altimeter 2975.
Going to Oshawa, and yes, thank you very much, 29.75.
Here, 10 Group 2, link landing 2. 642 at Toronto flying flight level 270.
Approaching waypoint.
642, right?
So that's the new runway. Perry Sound's still closed, will be closed until the end of July. Looks like they're making good headway on the new runway, though. Old one's X'd out, the new one's X'd out too, because you can't land there. I suppose in an emergency. If I had an emergency, I would explain later why I used the closed airport.
Order 9903. Yeah, this is training flight. We have a bunch of flight attendants in the back. We're doing familiarization flight. We'll be requesting maybe stop in the mid-30s, whatever's good for you. And then at some point we'll be simulating an emergency descent, if that's okay with you.
I'd probably coordinate that as you get up further up towards North Bay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Oshawa Tower, this is Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform.
Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, Oshawa Tower.
Oshawa Tower, Mike Victor Uniform, Cessna 172 with information. Oh, I'm over the town of Greenbank at 3,700 feet, inbound for landing, last departed Sudbury.
We're on information echo there. Runway 30, wind 270 at 4 knots, altimeter 2976. Cleared right downwind, report Columbus.
Right downwind, runway 30, report Columbus, Mike Victor Uniform.
Victor Uniform Tower, clear to land, runway 30.
Cleared 30, Mike Victor Uniform.
Golf Bravo, Whiskey, Quebec Tower, you all set to go?
Good to go, Bravo, Quebec.
Bravo, Whiskey, Quebec Tower, line up and wait. Runway 30, traffic to exit.
Line up and wait, runway 30, Golf, Bravo, Quebec.
Go Uniform Hotel Tower number 1 now, departing traffic ahead.
Thank you, Uniform Hotel.
Tony Mike Juliet, check your BM Columbus, continue for
Approaching
the right
runway
base, report right
05,
base.
23.
Right base, Charlie Mike Juliet.
Victor Uniform Tower, exit runway 05, contact ground 118.
Entered runway 05, 23.
05, contact ground 1 off, Mike Victor Uniform, thank you.
Oscar Whiskey Tower, I'd like you to extend the left downwind, I will call your base turn.
To extend the downwind, we'll go left base, sir.
Bravo, Whiskey, Quebec Tower, report right base, clear takeoff runway 30.
Clear takeoff 30 and report right base for Golf, Bravo, Quebec.
Oshawa ground, Mike Victor Uniform on 05, requesting taxi to the T's.
Victor Uniform ground, taxi straight ahead, runway 05 Delta, good day.
05 Delta, good day, thank you.
Okay, so back in Oshawa. Back in Oshawa exactly when I thought I was going to arrive back in Oshawa if I had completed the entire trip. Didn't make it. Like I said earlier, I still had fun, I still had an adventure. I think we still raised awareness at the stops we did make for Hope Air, and we raised a lot of money for Give Hope Wings. And I want to thank all of you for helping out with that. This is not the end of my involvement with Hope Air. I'm hoping to continue with that, and hoping to make a difference wherever I can. And I thank you for enabling that. So, end of an adventure. Thank you for following along. There'll be plenty more this summer, and I'll see you again on the next one.